Commander Jack Harrison stood at the viewport of the International Space Station's new quantum observatory, his attention fixed on an anomaly that shouldn't exist. The signal had appeared 20 minutes ago, a ripple in spacetime that defied every known law of physics. After 15 years in Space Force, he thought he'd seen everything. He was wrong. "Commander, you need to see this." Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez's voice crackled through his earpiece. "The signal, it's a distress call." Jack turned from the viewport, pushing off the wall to float toward the control center. "From where?" "That's just it, sir. It's coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Like it's folded through dimensions we can't even perceive." The main screen displayed a cascade of impossible readings. Energy signatures that made fusion reactors look like birthday candles. Quantum fluctuations that shouldn't exist in our universe. "Can you decode it?" Jack asked, anchoring himself to a console. Maya's fingers flew across the holographic interface. "Working on it. The encryption is like nothing I've ever." "Wait." The screen flickered, then resolved into a series of crystalline patterns that shifted and flowed like liquid light. "Help us." The words appeared in their minds rather than their ears, accompanied by a sensation of urgent need. "We carry knowledge that must not fall into the wrong hands." Jack exchanged glances with Maya. Telepathic communication. First contact scenarios had prepared them for a lot, but this was unprecedented. The message continued, images flooding their consciousness. A ship of impossible beauty, built from what looked like living crystal. Twin beings of ethereal grace, their skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns. And behind them, darker shapes pursuing through the void between stars. "We are the last of the Xylaxian diplomatic corps," the message continued. "Our ship is damaged. Our pursuers are relentless. We seek sanctuary. Sir." Maya looked at Jack, her dark eyes wide with a mixture of fear and wonder. "What are your orders?" Jack's mind raced through protocols, regulations, and the 100 ways this could go wrong. But something in that mental touch spoke of genuine desperation. And if beings with this level of technology wanted to harm Earth, they wouldn't need to ask permission. "Send the response sequence," he ordered. "Guide them to the quantum dock." "And Maya?" "Alert security but keep this quiet. The fewer people who know about our guests, the better." The docking procedure was unlike anything in Jack's experience. The alien vessel seemed to phase through space itself, appearing in segments like a puzzle assembling in 4 dimensions. When it finally materialized completely, it took his breath away. The ship was organic technology, its crystal surface pulsing with internal light. It was barely larger than a shuttle but radiated more power than a nuclear carrier group. As the airlock cycled, Jack felt the twins' presence before he saw them. They emerged like living artwork, their humanoid forms both familiar and utterly alien. Tall and graceful, with skin that rippled with patterns of light, they moved with perfect synchronization. Their eyes were pools of shifting silver, and their hair seemed to float as if suspended in water, despite the station's artificial gravity. "I am Lyra," the one on the left projected directly into their minds. "And this is my sister Vela. We apologize for the intrusion, but we had no choice." "Earth is neutral territory," her sister added, her mental voice carrying a different harmonic. "Our pursuers will hesitate to follow us here." Jack stepped forward, keeping his posture non-threatening but alert. "I'm Commander Jack Harrison. Welcome aboard. But I need to know exactly what kind of trouble you've brought to my doorstep." The twins exchanged a look that seemed to carry volumes of unspoken communication. Finally, Lyra answered, "We carry the key to unlocking the quantum consciousness of sentient beings. In the right hands, it could unite galaxies. In the wrong hands, it could enslave them," Vela finished. "Our people have guarded this knowledge for millennia. Now we are all that remains of our order." Jack felt the weight of their words, understanding dawning. These weren't just refugees. They were carrying perhaps the most dangerous secret in the galaxy. And now Earth was involved whether they wanted to be or not. "Who's chasing you?" he asked, though he had a sinking feeling he already knew. "The Syndicate," they answered in unison, the word carrying undertones of dread and disgust. "A coalition of the power-hungry from 100 worlds. They have hunted us across 3 galaxies." Maya, who had been quietly monitoring her instruments, suddenly stiffened. "Commander, we have multiple quantum signatures appearing at the edge of the solar system. They're using the same phase technology." Jack's training kicked in. "How many?" "At least 5 ships, all larger than our visitors." The twins' skin patterns shifted to darker hues. "They followed us through the quantum wake. We didn't think they could track us through dimensional shift." Jack made a decision that would change his life and possibly the fate of humanity. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, initiate Protocol Omega. Total communications blackout, retroactive 12 hours. He turned to the twins. "Ladies, it seems I'm now your personal security detail. Welcome to Earth. Let's make sure you live to enjoy the visit." The secure bunker beneath Houston Space Force Command wasn't meant to house aliens, but it would have to do. Jack watched as Lyra and Vela examined their temporary quarters, their bioluminescent patterns casting shifting shadows on the metallic walls. "Your security measures are primitive," Lyra observed, though her mental tone carried no judgment. "But perhaps that will work to our advantage. The Syndicate will be looking for quantum shielding, not concrete and steel." Speaking of the Syndicate, Jack leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "I need to know exactly what we're dealing with. Those ships that followed you, they're still out there, holding position just beyond Mars' orbit. My superiors are getting nervous." Vela's patterns shifted to a deep indigo, reflecting concern. "Your superiors don't understand the true threat. The Syndicate has infiltrators everywhere. Trust no one who hasn't been screened by us." "Screened?" Maya asked from her position by the door, where she'd been monitoring communications. "You mean telepathically?" "Yes," the twins answered in unison, their silver eyes gleaming. "We can detect the neural modifications the Syndicate uses to control their agents." Jack frowned. "And how do I know you haven't been compromised?" Lyra approached him, her movements fluid as mercury. "You don't. But consider this. If we meant harm, we could have taken control of your minds the moment we arrived. Instead, we ask for help." A sudden alert from Maya's tablet interrupted them. "Sir, Director Chen is requesting your presence in the command center. Priority 1. Jack straightened, checking his sidearm out of habit. "Stay here. Maya, maintain quantum dampening fields. No communications in or out without my direct authorization." The twins exchanged one of their meaningful looks. "Be careful, Commander," Vela warned. "The Syndicate's influence reaches further than you imagine." The walk to the command center gave Jack time to think. In less than 24 hours, Earth had been dragged into an interstellar conflict it wasn't ready for. And he was caught in the middle, protecting 2 aliens who might be humanity's greatest allies, or its doom. Director Chen was waiting with General Santos when Jack arrived. The tension in the room was palpable. "Commander Harrison," Chen's voice was clipped, professional. "Report on our guests." Jack chose his words carefully. "They're secure and cooperative. The immediate threat appears to be contained." "Contained?" General Santos scoffed. "We have 5 unknown vessels parked in our solar system, technology that makes our best ships look like rowboats, and you think this is contained? With respect, sir, those ships haven't made any aggressive moves. They know attacking Earth would have consequences. Or they're waiting for something," Chen interjected, studying a holographic display of the solar system. "Tell me, Commander, what exactly are these Xylaxians carrying that's worth crossing galaxies for?" Jack hesitated. The twins' warning about infiltrators echoed in his mind. They haven't shared specifics, Director. Security concerns. Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. Convenient. And you haven't pressed them on this? My orders were to ensure their safety, not interrogate them. Your orders have changed, Santos declared. We need to know what we're dealing with. Use whatever means necessary. Jack felt a chill that had nothing to do with the room's temperature. Sir, they're diplomatic refugees. The Geneva Conventions don't apply to non-human entities, Chen finished. The President has given us full authority to handle this situation as we see fit. Something wasn't right. Jack could feel it in his gut. The twins' warnings about infiltrators suddenly seemed far more urgent. I'll speak with them immediately, he said, keeping his voice neutral. But they're more likely to cooperate if we maintain their trust. See that you do, Chen dismissed him with a wave. And Harrison? Remember where your loyalties lie. Jack's mind was racing as he headed back to the bunker. The director's words, the general's aggression, it all felt wrong. He needed to get back to the twins, to warn them. He was nearly there when Maya's voice crackled through his earpiece. Commander. The dampening field, it's being deactivated from inside the command center. Jack broke into a run, drawing his weapon. Lock it down. Override code Harrison Alpha 9. Too late, Maya's voice was tight with fear. They're already here. He rounded the corner to find Maya unconscious outside the bunker door, a thin line of blood trickling from her nose. Inside, he could hear the hum of quantum technology activating. Jack slammed his palm on the biolock, bursting into the room with his weapon raised. The scene before him confirmed his worst fears. The twins stood back to back in the center of the room, their skin blazing with defensive patterns of light. Surrounding them were four figures in sleek black armor, their helmets adorned with pulsing quantum circuitry. But what made Jack's blood run cold was the fifth figure. Director Chen stood calmly at the front, a quantum pistol aimed at the twins. When she spoke, her voice had changed, carrying the same harmonic overtones as the syndicate ships. Thank you for leading us to them, Commander. Earth will be well rewarded for its cooperation. Her smile was cold as space itself. Now, step aside. The syndicate has been waiting a very long time for this reunion. Jack's combat training kicked in before his conscious mind could process the betrayal. In one fluid motion, he spun toward Chen, simultaneously shoving Maya's unconscious form clear of the doorway with his foot. Commander Harrison, Chen's altered voice carried artificial harmonics that set his teeth on edge. Surely you're not planning to throw away your career, and possibly your life, for two aliens. The twins' mental voice touched his mind, calm despite the chaos. The quantum circuits in their armor have a weakness. When we move, be ready. Jack kept his weapon trained on Chen, buying time. You know, Director, I've been wondering something. When did they get to you? Before or after the twins arrived? Chen's smile turned predatory. Oh, much earlier. Earth has been preparing for this moment for years. The syndicate showed us wonders you couldn't imagine. And the price? Jack's finger tightened on the trigger. Just humanity's freedom. Freedom. Chen laughed, the sound distorted by her quantum modifications. We're giving humanity the stars themselves. The twins moved with devastating synchronization. Their combined mental blast hit the syndicate agents like a tsunami, disrupting the quantum circuits in their armor. Jack didn't hesitate. His first shot caught Chen's weapon hand, the second took down the nearest armored agent. Chaos erupted. The remaining agents opened fire with weapons that bent space itself, their quantum bolts leaving trails of distorted reality. Jack dove behind a console, returning fire as the twins danced through the battlefield with impossible grace, their defensive patterns blazing. The neural link. Lyra's mental shout cut through the chaos. It's in her spine. Jack understood. Chen wasn't just working for the Syndicate, she was a conduit, linking them directly to Earth's defense systems. The thought made him sick, but there was no time for hesitation. His next shot was precise, striking the base of Chen's neck. She dropped, the quantum harmonics in her voice dissolving into static. The remaining agents faltered as their link to the Syndicate temporarily severed. Maya. Jack called out, seeing her stir in the doorway. Emergency Protocol Delta. Despite her grogginess, Maya's training held. She slapped the emergency lockdown panel, sealing the bunker. Quantum dampening fields sprang to life, cutting off any possibility of dimensional escape. The fight that followed was brutal and swift. Without their quantum advantage, the Syndicate agents were still dangerous but no longer invincible. The twins moved like living lightning, their combined mental abilities shorting out the enemy's advanced tech. Jack's more conventional weapons did the rest. When it was over, Jack stood amid the wreckage, breathing hard. Chen's body lay still, the quantum circuitry in her spine now dark and lifeless. The other agents were either unconscious or dead. "We have minutes at most," Vela announced, her patterns shifting with urgency. The Syndicate will have felt their agent's defeat. They'll be mobilizing everything they have. Maya was already at a terminal, her fingers flying. "Sir, they're right. Multiple quantum signatures approaching Earth. Bigger than before. They'll glass the planet." Lyra's mental voice was heavy with guilt. "The knowledge we carry, they'll destroy Earth completely to prevent us from sharing it." Jack made a decision that would alter the course of human history. "Maya, initiate Project Phoenix." Her eyes widened. "Sir, that's not authorized without dash. The chain of command is compromised," Jack cut her off. "Do it. Now." As Maya worked, Jack turned to the twins. "You said your knowledge could unite galaxies. Time to prove it. We're about to show you humanity's best-kept secret, but we'll need your help to make it work." The twins' silver eyes gleamed with interest. "What are you planning, Commander?" "Something impossible," he answered, checking his weapon's charge. "We're going to wake up Earth's quantum consciousness. All of it. At once." Maya looked up from her terminal, face pale. "Phoenix protocols initiated. God help us all." Deep beneath the surface of the Earth, in installations hidden from even most of the military, ancient machines began to power up. They weren't human technology, they were far older, discovered in ruins that predated known history. Earth's governments had spent decades studying them, learning their purpose but never daring to use them. Until now. "The Syndicate isn't the only one with secrets," Jack explained as alarms began to blare throughout the facility. "Those ships you arrived in. We've seen their like before. About 100,000 years ago, someone left us a gift. We just never had the key to use it." Understanding dawned in the twins' expressions. Lyra stepped forward, her patterns shifting to a deep, resonant gold. "The quantum awakening protocols. You have them?" "Not quite," Jack smiled grimly. "We have the hardware. You have the software. Apart, neither works. Together. We could wake up every human mind on Earth simultaneously," Vela finished, excitement bleeding through her mental voice. "Give them all access to the quantum consciousness at once. The Syndicate would be facing billions of awakened minds, not just two." Maya's voice shook slightly. "Multiple ships entering atmosphere. We have maybe 5 minutes." Jack looked at the twins. "Well? Are you in?" Their answer was immediate and unified. "We've spent our lives protecting this knowledge, waiting for the right moment, the right allies." Their patterns synchronized, blazing with purpose. "This is what we were waiting for." As they raced through the facility's depths, Jack couldn't help but smile. The Syndicate had come expecting to find a primitive world, easy to conquer or destroy. Instead, they were about to learn why humanity had survived every catastrophe history had thrown at it. Sometimes, the best weapon isn't the biggest ship or the most advanced technology. Sometimes, it's simply knowing when to wake up. The ancient chamber stretched before them, its crystalline walls humming with dormant power. Massive quantum cores, untouched for millennia, pulsed with growing energy as Maya initiated startup sequences. The air itself seemed to crackle with potential. These machines, Lyra touched a crystal pillar reverently, her patterns reflecting off its surface. Their predecessor technology. Predecessor? Jack asked, helping Maya connect their modern systems to the ancient interfaces. The first species to achieve quantum consciousness, Vela explained. They seeded galaxies with these awakening chambers before vanishing. We thought all were lost or destroyed. Until humanity built its cities right on top of one, Jack grunted, fitting the last connection. And spent decades figuring out what it was for. The facility shuddered. Above them, the first syndicate weapons were hitting Earth's defensive shields. Maya's fingers flew across her tablet. Shields at 60% and dropping. Multiple orbital strikes detected. They're trying to stop what they fear most, Lyra's mental voice was grim. A second quantum-conscious species that they can't control. Jack checked the connections one final time. Maya, status on the global quantum network. Online. All major population centers linked. But sir. She hesitated. If we do this, if we wake everyone at once, there's no going back. Humanity will never be the same. If we don't, Jack replied, there won't be a humanity left to change. Another impact rocked the facility. Warning lights flashed as dust fell from the ancient ceiling. The twins moved to opposite sides of the central crystal, their patterns beginning to synchronize. The process will be dangerous, Lyra warned. Many minds may not survive the initial awakening. And those that do will have access to powers they don't understand, Vela added. Your species will need guidance. Jack met their silver eyes. Then I guess you'll have to stick around and help us learn. A small smile touched their lips. Assuming we survive the next few minutes. Maya's tablet blared an alarm. Sir. They've broken through the outer shields. Ground forces deploying, these readings, they're not just soldiers. Some kind of quantum-enhanced combat forms. How long until they reach us? 3 minutes. Maybe less. Jack drew his weapon, positioning himself by the chamber's entrance. Then we better work fast. Maya, initiate the sequence. Ladies, do your thing. The twins clasped hands across the central crystal, their patterns blazing so bright Jack had to look away. The ancient machinery responded, quantum cores pulsing in harmony with their combined consciousness. We need a focal point, Lyra's mental voice strained with effort. A human mind to serve as the initial quantum bridge. Someone to carry the first spark, Vela added. It will likely kill them. Jack didn't hesitate. Use me. Sir, no. Maya protested. You can't dash. That's an order, Lieutenant, Jack cut her off. Get to the secondary control room. Coordinate the global response when this hits. Humanity's going to need guidance in those first few minutes. Maya's eyes shone with tears, but she nodded sharply. It's been an honor, sir. She turned and ran. The sounds of battle were getting closer. Quantum weapons fire echoed through the facility's corridors. Jack took position between the twins, placing his hands on the crystal. Fair warning, he managed a grin. My mind's probably a mess. All human minds are, Lyra's mental voice carried a touch of affection. It's what makes you beautiful, Vela finished. They began. Pain unlike anything Jack had ever experienced ripped through his consciousness. He felt his mind being torn apart and reassembled, expanded beyond physical limitations. The quantum knowledge of ages poured through him like fire. He saw everything. Earth's billions of minds, each a unique pattern of quantum potential. The approaching syndicate forces, their enhanced bodies twisted by corrupted quantum tech. The vast network of spacetime itself, waiting to be shaped by awakened consciousness. Through his agony, he heard Maya's voice over the comm, quantum cascade initiating. Global consciousness awakening in 3, 2, 1. The world exploded with light and possibility. Billions of minds awakened simultaneously, their collective quantum consciousness surging through the networks Jack and the twins had created. Humanity's first unified thought was a scream of transformation that shook the foundations of reality. The syndicate forces entering the facility stumbled as the wave hit them. Their quantum enhancements, designed to dominate normal human minds, shattered against the newfound power of billions of awakened consciousnesses. Through the quantum link, Jack felt humanity's first steps into their new existence. Fear, wonder, confusion, and exhilaration mixed in a symphony of thought that threatened to overwhelm him. But he also felt something else. The twins, their minds entwined with his, anchoring him in the quantum storm. Their combined consciousness creating a beacon of stability in the chaos of humanity's awakening. Hold on, their unified thoughts wrapped around his disintegrating mind. We've got you. As his physical body began to fail under the strain, Jack had one last coherent thought: the syndicate had wanted to prevent humanity from reaching its potential. Instead, they had forced humanity to exceed it. The quantum revolution had begun. And nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. In the quantum realm between thought and reality, Jack Harrison existed as pure consciousness. His physical body had surrendered to the strain of the awakening, but his mind, supported by the twins' combined power, endured. Through the vast network of humanity's unified consciousness, he witnessed the revolution he had helped create. Cities around the world pulsed with newfound power as billions of awakened minds discovered their potential. The syndicate's invasion force, expecting to find primitive resistance, instead faced an entire species transcending its limitations in real time. Look, Lyra's consciousness guided his attention to Sydney, where awakened humans were instinctively forming quantum shields against orbital bombardment. In New York, others were learning to redirect the syndicate's own weapons back into space. They're adapting faster than any species we've ever seen, Vela observed, her thoughts tinged with wonder. Through their shared perception, Jack watched as humanity's collective consciousness organized itself with impossible speed. Military minds contributed tactical knowledge, scientists offered theoretical frameworks, and ordinary people provided the creative spark needed to implement new quantum abilities in ways the syndicate had never imagined. Maya's voice echoed through the quantum network, coordinating the global response. All population centers, maintain defensive formations. Orbital strikes decreasing. They're pulling back. But Jack sensed something darker beneath the surface of humanity's triumph. The power of quantum consciousness was intoxicating, and not everyone was handling it well. In some areas, newly awakened minds were lashing out in confusion and fear, causing quantum disruptions that threatened to tear holes in reality itself. We need to stabilize them, he projected, his thoughts growing stronger as he adapted to his new form. Before they destroy themselves, and take half the planet with them. The twins' consciousness merged more deeply with his, forming a trinity of awareness that expanded through the quantum network. Together, they became a beacon of calm in the chaos, showing humanity how to control its newfound powers. Remember who you are, their unified thoughts reached out to the billions of awakened minds. You are more than your powers. You are human first. Gradually, the chaos began to settle. Across the globe, people found their balance between their old selves and their new abilities. The quantum network hummed with purpose rather than panic. In orbit, the syndicate fleet was in retreat, their ships jumping into quantum space to escape the unprecedented resistance. But Jack sensed they weren't fleeing in fear, there was something else, a growing realization among their ranks. They're sending a signal, Lyra detected. To every corner of the galaxy. Through the quantum network, they intercepted the message, Earth has awakened. The predecessor's prophecy is fulfilled. The balance has shifted. What prophecy? Jack directed the thought to the twins. An ancient prediction, they responded in unison. That when two quantum-conscious species chose to share power rather than fight for it, a new age would begin. The syndicate, Vela continued, was formed to prevent this, believing that quantum consciousness should be controlled, regulated. Hoarded, Lyra finished. They feared what would happen if too many species gained this power. And now? Jack asked, though he was beginning to understand. Now humanity has proven them wrong. You didn't awaken through conquest or theft, but through cooperation. Through trust. In the quantum realm, Jack felt his consciousness beginning to stabilize, taking on a more permanent form. The twins' presence supported him as his awareness expanded further, touching the edges of possibilities he had never imagined. Through their shared perception, they watched as humanity took its first steps into a larger universe. All across Earth, people were discovering not just the power of quantum consciousness, but its purpose, to connect, to understand, to grow beyond the limitations of physical form. Maya's consciousness touched theirs, her thoughts carrying both joy and concern. The immediate crisis is over, sir. But we're getting signals from every spacefaring race in the sector. They all want to talk. Of course they do, Jack's response carried a touch of his old humor. We just crashed the galaxy's most exclusive party. The twins' shared amusement mingled with his. They'll expect Earth to choose a side, Lyra cautioned. To join existing power structures. But you have another option, Vela added. One the predecessors hoped for but never saw fulfilled. Jack understood. Humanity could forge its own path, neither conquering nor submitting, but offering something new, a middle way between isolation and dominance. Through the quantum network, he felt humanity's collective agreement forming. Earth would not join the syndicate, nor would it start a war. Instead, it would become something else, a beacon for other species seeking to awaken, a proof that quantum consciousness could be achieved through cooperation rather than conflict. Well, Jack projected, his quantum form growing stronger by the moment, I guess someone needs to help coordinate all this. Any chance you two are looking for a long-term assignment? The twins' consciousness brightened with approval. We thought you'd never ask. Together, their merged consciousness expanded outward, touching the quantum fabric of spacetime itself. Above them, the stars beckoned, no longer distant and unreachable, but part of the same vast quantum tapestry that connected all conscious beings. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger reality. And thanks to an unlikely trinity, a human soldier who chose trust over fear, and two alien twins who chose sharing over hoarding, the galaxy would never be the same. The true awakening was just beginning.